Honestly, what can I even say after that? I'm absolutely speechless. And that's no exaggeration. I truly am lost for words. To be fair, I'm usually someone who tries to defend the idea of giving managers and players time to adapt. But after tonight, Potter has shown me that he is completely clueless. And the issue isn't just about tonight's poor result. It goes much deeper down to his team selections and overall decisions. I know we don't have the players. I know we don't have the squad. We're all painfully aware of that. It couldn't be clearer. So the question becomes, what could a manager actually do in this situation? Could someone else come in and make a difference? But right now it just feels like rinse and repeat the same cycle over and over. I said this last week when we got hammered by Sunderland, a newly promoted side, and then outplayed again by Chelsea. And yet somehow we still went into these games, thinking we might actually get a result. I believed it. Maybe you did too. Deep down, I probably knew it wasn't going to happen, but I still hoped something would click. And this is where my frustration really starts. I'll get onto Mads Hermansen in a moment, but first it's about the ridiculous decisions with player selection. The constant inclusion and exclusion of players week after week makes no sense. This is the second week in a row where it's been utterly absurd. One week a player doesn't feature at all, then suddenly he's starting the next. Another gets a chance, then vanishes without explanation. Niklas Füllkrug starts the game, but is hauled off at halftime. Then we see Wilson Revizar, who looks like he should be retired, thrown on the pitch after halftime. Freddie Potts doesn't feature in the first match, but suddenly comes on at halftime as if he's going to turn the whole game around. It feels like a mashup of decisions from a dozen different managers, and it's obvious that Potter is panicking. And that brings me back to the summer. He had the entire summer to implement the changes he wanted. He had the time to shape the team his way. But looking at the squad now, I'm left asking, what on earth has he actually done? What is he trying to add? What's his vision? Take the defense, for example. Before the Sunderland game, I genuinely believed we'd have a solid backline. But in reality, they've looked like the complete opposite. Completely and utterly the opposite. And then there's Hermansen. Honestly, what on earth is going on with him? People used to call Fabianski Flapianski. Others slated Areola. Many keepers have been criticized over the years at West Ham. And I hate doing it. I really do. But it's impossible to ignore. We were talking about it in the West Ham group chat after the game. Hermansen should have been signed earlier in the summer. Goalkeepers are slightly different from outfield players, yes. But even they need time to settle in. And more importantly, a keeper should know not to come for balls they'll never reach. He kept charging out and got nowhere near anything. The only time he actually won an aerial duel was in the 93rd minute, and the crowd clapped sarcastically because it was such a disaster until then. 8 goals conceded in just 2 matches, a manager who looks completely out of his depth, and an owner who is just as lost and incapable of getting the transfer business done when it mattered. You know what frustrates me the most? The fact that all of this could have been different. I honestly believe that. Of course, we as fans are not professional coaches, but we know enough to understand that if West Ham had done his transfer business, earlier things would look completely different right now. If the new signings had arrived in time, they would already be integrated into the group, changing the team dynamic and maybe even shifting the direction of this season. But no, once again, everything was left until the very last moment. The midfield is non-existent. There is no midfield at all. It's useless to pretend otherwise. There is absolutely nothing happening in that part of the pitch. Without creativity, the forwards have no chance of doing anything, even when they want to. Niklas Füllkrug looks like only a shadow of the player he once was. Wilson Revizar is a lost bet. We already know what to expect from him, and it's not encouraging. Defensively, we are a complete disaster. The whole team looks completely lost. And then you look at the bench and ask yourself what could possibly save us. The transfer window? With only a week or 2 left. Is this a joke? Why are we always leaving things so late? This is exactly what worries me about West Ham. And as for Potter, why is he still here if the problem is the owners? If the board isn't backing him, then why does he stay with such a limited squad? Is he afraid of admitting he made mistakes? Because he already looks bad right now. Nothing is working for him. None of his decisions are paying off. We've got a coach who looks lifeless out of ideas. Players who look exhausted, old, and uninspired. This is a team that looks destined for relegation. It's embarrassing. I'm away on holiday. I set time aside to watch the match, and what do I get? That kind of performance. It's shameful. Absolutely shameful. And the worst part is, I don't know how to fix it. I genuinely don't. Because the truth is the entire squad needs a complete rebuild. The whole club needs a transformation from top to bottom. And that's simply not going to happen. So here we are again, back at the same point, having the same conversations at the same time of the season. And this is what it's going to be again, rinse and repeat all year long with West Ham. And where are we supposed to find joy in this? Where is the positivity? Honestly, I can't see it. I'm lost for words. I can't see where the next good thing is coming from. What's the next bright spot? There isn't one. All we're seeing is defeat after defeat. The coach took Thibaut off at halftime, switched to a back four, brought Kyle Walker-Peters on, and yet the whole squad still looked like they had no idea what they were doing. Zero creativity, zero energy in midfield, a complete void. And then seeing Freddie Potts being thrown in as if he's supposed to change the entire game by himself is painful. I like him, I really do. I think he's talented, but if he's part of the plan, then he should start the game, not be expected to come on at halftime and fix everything. That's unfair pressure on a young kid who is still developing. And then to make things worse, Potter turns to Wilson, Revizar, a veteran with constant injury problems who offers absolutely nothing at this stage. And what happens? Exactly what you'd expect. No change, no impact. It's frustrating, it's boring, and above all, it's depressing. And the most frustrating part is that none of this seems to have a quick solution. Potter looks completely lost, the squad has no identity, and the ownership is just as confused. What we're seeing is the same pattern repeating every season. We go through the same cycle, the same arguments, the same mistakes. West Ham feels unable to learn from the past, unable to plan for the future, and unable to react in the present. The situation is so chaotic, it feels like nobody inside the club knows what they're doing. From the summer preparation to the transfers that never arrive on time to the questionable decisions on the pitch, everything looks improvised. What should be a clear, structured plan has turned into a set of random choices that only deepen the frustration of the fans. And the fans, of course, feel it most. We're tired of believing that change is coming only to watch the same disaster play out again. It's like being trapped in an endless cycle of disappointment. There's no progress on the pitch, reinforcements don't arrive when needed, and the manager looks increasingly overwhelmed. The result is a brand of football that is flat predictable and hopeless. The players themselves look completely disconnected. There's no system, no rhythm, no confidence. Each match is further proof that there's a lack of planning, leadership, and above all, competence. With every game that passes, the feeling that this is a team destined for a relegation battle grows stronger. And the worst part is knowing it didn't have to be this way. With better planning, with earlier signings, with bold decisions taken sooner, the story could have been different. But West Ham always seems to choose the hardest path, waiting too long, hesitating, delaying. And by the time action is finally taken, it's already too late. It's not enough to blame only the players. It's not enough to blame only the coach. The failure is structural. It comes from the very top, from the way the club is run. Unless that mentality changes, nothing else will. Potter, as lost as he may seem, is also a victim of this chaotic management. And the players, even if limited, are also suffering because there's no consistent plan to follow. What's left for us, the fans, is frustration. We're left without confidence, without hope, without joy. West Ham right now is a team with no spark, no creativity, no fight. And until that changes, we'll keep repeating the same complaints year after year, season after season. It's a vicious cycle that feels endless. At the end of the day, the dominant feeling is exhaustion. Exhaustion from watching a team with no direction. Exhaustion from believing in promises that never get fulfilled. Exhaustion from seeing the same mistakes again and again. West Ham today is a lost club, and until someone takes real responsibility and makes meaningful changes, we'll remain stuck in a sea of mediocrity. And honestly, that is devastating for any supporter still holding on to a shred of hope.